welcome to Squad. If this is your very first time, I hope that we have not freaked you out yet, but you're here, and we love you. We're so glad that you're here. You're catching us at the beginning of a brand new series called Review. This is not meaning that we're going to talk about everything we've discussed so far in the year. This isn't one of those flashback episodes that every TV series seems to do, but we just want you to look again. We want you to take another look and look again. So look to the person beside you and say, look again. Look again. So we are going to begin this series, and here's what it's about. It's about self-reflection. Self-reflection. And as the series goes on, we're going to talk a little bit more and go a little bit deeper. So it will be self-reflection and your self-image. It will also go into your mental health and ideas of self-harm or suicide in our final week of this month. So invite those that you think need to hear this message, need maybe a little encouragement, a little assistance. Invite them here. You also get to hear from my wife, Marissa, in a couple weeks. So I'm excited about that. And she's already got her message, I think, done. It's just stewing now. It's in the crock pot, getting tender. All right. So it's awesome. But we're excited about that. So I'm thinking this message is this series is really going to help us all out, so I want to jump right into it. So if you're taking notes, today's title is A Mirror Image. A mirror image. So write that down if you have something to write it on. And with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. Today's topic, we want to look at your image and answer these two questions. Who am I? And why am I here? Okay, and I don't mean in this room. Hopefully you're like, I came here for a word. Good, this is the place for that. But why am I on this planet? Why am I in this family, right? Maybe your family did something so weird over the weekend. Like, hey, we're all going to dress up and match the same and go out in public. And you're like, we're what? Right? Nailed it, all right? So maybe that was you. You're like, why am I in this family? You're just in the back of the line, like I'm not even trying to be taking any pictures. But maybe you've asked that question, and here's the issue, that if those questions go unanswered or unfulfilled, it can lead to feelings of disparity and just kind of torment or a negative self-image. So we want to help you answer some of those questions tonight before you go. But first, we have to talk about your morning routine. Okay, so just real quick, it went really well with the middle schoolers. I was very pleased to know that many of our high school boys do use deodorant. Middle schoolers, I'm excited for them. But let's talk about your morning routine. How many of you, there is a meal involved in your morning routine before school? You have some food, okay. So all those who don't have their hand up, do you ever find yourself very tired before lunch? That's why. I just wanted to let you know if you're like, man, I think I'm going through a bad cell. I think I got coronavirus, so I'm just so tired. It's like, nah, dude, you need a meal, okay? You need a Pop-Tart or a Slim Jim or something. Like you need some sustenance. Eat something, okay? That's your notes. You can even just check out for the rest of the message. Eat something, okay? But let's move on. So some of you eat in the morning. How many of you, there is some form of hygiene in your routine? Okay, we brush teeth. That's good. That's good. When I brush Lennox's teeth, he's 3 years old. We have our routine. We go side, up, down, close your teeth, and brush that. And then I say, stick your tongue out, and I brush his tongue. And then I look at him, and he'll look at me, and he'll say, that's where the stink is. That's where. But if it's the morning, it's like, that's where the stank is, right? The morning brush is very important. So I'm glad that you have that. Maybe, and we're not going to get too graphic or anything, but maybe you have a shower in the morning, okay? Get yesterday's stank off, or maybe you drooled everywhere. You just need to freshen up. Maybe that's involved. That's good. Let's go a little bit deeper. How many of you would say that you have an outfit check? You put on the outfit, okay? And when you put on the outfit, you kind of look at it and you compare it to other outfits that you have, and then you say, you know what, not this one, okay? Or maybe you say, I have this outfit, but it doesn't look as good as that other person that goes to school in the outfit they have. I wish I had that outfit. We do the comparison game, I understand. Now, there is a debate in the Carter house whenever Marissa gets Lennox dressed and when Dad gets Lennox dressed. For some reason, Marissa feels that when I get him dressed, I close my eyes and just pull whatever's on top and put it on him. And the issue is that she'll look at me and say, I understand that you're trying. I appreciate you trying. Here's my frustration, Josh. You would never walk out of this house wearing anything like that. I don't understand why you would put it on our son, right? So that's our debate there. So you got to do a fit check. But how many people would admit to this? And I'm going to use an illustration. This is not mine, okay? So fellas, I want my man card. But I have borrowed this. How many of you would incorporate or say that you incorporate one of these into your morning routine? And I mean the mirror part at least, all right? So mirror, right? How many of you have a mirror in the beginning part of your day, okay? All right, for those who say, no, I don't use a mirror in the morning, we know. We know. But it's cool. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're hey, we're going to take pictures. Oh, never mind. Oh, no, we're not going to take any more pictures. No, just kidding. We would never do that. But at some point, you look in a mirror. Or maybe, ladies, when you pull up to the school, you flip the camera and you give a good little, okay, after lunch, you get one of, right? You go into the bathroom, though, right? You go into the stall, you're like, I got to make sure that my situation is the way I want my situation. All right, you don't walk out there with, like, something in your teeth, right? And trying to talk to the one, right? So I understand. But here's my point. I think that you would agree with me when I say that to you, your image matters. I think we can all agree our image matters. How you see yourself is very important to you. And I'm not going to pull like the carpet out from under you and say, that's bad and you shouldn't think that. That's what I'm saying. I think all of us would agree that our image is very important to us. So that's why I want to spend so much time talking about this. Something that you may not know about me is that I love haircuts. And my barber's right here, Miss Amy. Miss Amy, killing it right there. Yeah. Pinky's Chop Shop. Go see her or one of her associates. They're all awesome. They do men's hair and women's hair. Got the hookup, all right? Go get your head right, okay? That's not their slogan. That's my slogan for you. Go get your head right, okay? But I love haircuts. There's something about being able to leave Pinky's Chop Shop, and I'll tell Marissa there is not a hair on my head that is not supposed to be there. There's care taken. There are razor blades. There's trust, right? And I like the shampoo and the conditioner. Like some places they don't do that. But I like that because I don't want to accidentally try on a hat in a store and then say I don't want this and then realize, I might need to buy it because I'm all up in the hat. Like I don't want particles in my hair everywhere throughout the day. So I like it to get off of me, okay? I like haircuts. I like the just knowing I look fresh at the end of the whole process. But here's something that you will now never be able to unthink at Squad. Are you ready for this? You can tell how far into a sermon series we are at Squad based on the thickness of your boy's hair. So if you ever show up after missing a couple and it's thin and the lines are right, you're like, oh, we're new. We're starting a good series. Okay, we're week 1. Okay, a little bit of, okay, week 2. I'll have to check it out on YouTube. I missed a week, okay? If you come here and it's thick or I have a hat on, you've missed the whole series and you're going to have to go to YouTube and see the whole thing because you can tell the thickness and where we are in our series. You will not be able to undo that. But here's the thing. If I were to sit down with a psychologist tonight and I laid out the history of me growing up in middle school and high school, I think that therapist would look at me and say, I know why you like haircuts. And I would try to express, I like the feeling and how I feel afterwards. No, Josh, that's not it. It's trauma. It's trauma from your middle school years. Yeah, go back to what you told me. When you were in Hope Mills Middle School and you were sitting in history class and that girl with the long hair passed the note back to you, your boy got a note. Now y'all just like send like, DMs and it's all digital and you can read the text clearly. No pen to paper. Back in the day, there was pen to paper and then you had to fold it up origami style. Like it was artwork. And it was so intricately folded that you had to give directions on how to open this thing. And the boys never would try to fold it back to send. It's just like, you're going to get what you get. I just can't even, you should have given the directions on what to do. But it would be so intricately folded. It would say, pull here. And I didn't know if a lifeboat was going to like just inflate on my desk or what, but you would pull here, it would unravel, and you had this note, this artwork of gel pens. Come on, somebody, with the gel pens and the color artwork, and you thought you were somebody. Yeah. I didn't get that kind of note. This girl passed back to me a sheet of paper, okay? It was torn, just like my emotions after reading it. It wasn't Marissa, okay, just letting her off the hook. We did go to school together, so just imagine that the person you eventually marry may be in this room. Just think about that for a second, right? So get your head right, okay, at Pinky's Shop. But she passed back this note, and here's what this sheet of paper said. It said something along the lines of, "You're kind of cute." And I thought, I've been saying this. I know that's right. This girl has gotten a word from God, and she has known, the truth and error of her ways has now been developed. But there was more to the letter. You're kind of cute, but you need a haircut. Here's the thing, that right now I wish I could afford a haircut every week, but the way my bank account is set up is that can't happen, okay? But back when I was in middle school, your boy was getting haircuts from his aunt for free. So I had the opportunity to fix the self-image issue that this prophet had seen and read into my life. That you're kind of cute, but you need to get your head right, right? So on that topic, let's talk about how we can all get our head right. I want to talk about your self-reflection, because here's what I think about your self-image. That anytime you pick up one of these and you see yourself in the mirror, you're seeing not just what's there. We tend to focus on what's missing. That I look in the mirror and all of a sudden I realize that my eyebrows aren't the way I wish my eyebrows were. That my teeth aren't as straight as that person's teeth. I wish I didn't have braces. I wish I could smile like she smiles. I wish my eyelids looked like their eyelids. I wish that my setting spray and foundation looked as good as theirs. Quick side note, if you ever work at Ulta and you see me walk into the store, yes, I need help. I love organization. When I walk into a place and I see it, when I walk into Ulta, I have no idea what is going on. I need assistance, okay? If that's you, or especially around Christmas time, but back to the message. We tend to stare at ourselves in the mirror, but we don't focus on what we see. We focus on what's missing, what I need to do better. And when I do that, I create this separation that eventually leads to me not realizing and tying so much of my identity into what my reflection looks like. So my self-reflection becomes my self-image. But here's the worst part of all of it. That when I'm getting ready in the morning, I look in the mirror, or I look at my selfie mode on my phone, I'm not just seeing what's missing. I'm seeing what everyone around me is going to think about me. And the weight of that is what I'm carrying with me into school with my book bag, with my Crocs, with my clothes, with my cereal bar, and everything else that I need to bring with me. I'm also carrying the expectation and the potential labels of other people who never even told me these things. It's just what I see. So look to somebody beside you and say, look again. Before you leave tonight, I want to make sure that you know this about you. In Genesis chapter 1, we find God creating the world. Shout out to God. I can barely make a science project, and God put this whole thing in orbit, okay? But not on day one did we show up. Are you a little upset about that? Like, if you're going to invite me to the party, okay, if you're calling me to the situation, don't let me be the last thought. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want to be first in line. So, like, day one, Jesus, where am I at? Day one, I created perfection in the human race. Said no one ever, right? So, day one, we weren't there. Okay, it's cool. It's cool. Gee, I understand. Do your thing. All right, day two, we still don't show up. It takes some time. God's setting some stuff up. Finally, he decides, you know what, let's make some people, okay? And now we show up. So verse 27 of Genesis chapter 1, it'll be on the screen for you if you don't have it. But here's what it says. It says, so God created mankind in his, somebody say his, own image. Dang. All of a sudden, I'm starting to feel what the beginning of my letter in the 7th grade said. Yeah, I am kind of cute. I'm made in his own image. And then it kind of breaks it down for us and says, in the image of God, he created them. But we can read ourselves into that verse, which is really cool. So we can say that in the image of God, he created us. Shoot, forget y'all. I'm going to make it personal. In his image, he created me. My God, right? All of a sudden, I can look at myself some type of way when I see my reflection, because when I look at my reflection, I'm not just seeing me, I'm seeing who created me. Because, check this out, you know you look like your daddy. You ever heard that? You ever heard it? Don't tell me that, Josh. Don't tell me that. Oh, don't. Just wait. You're going to start acting like your parents. It's going to be so weird. Those progressive commercials that your parents laugh at, that's going to be you. Absolutely. You're going to be becoming your parents. Have you ever been told like you look like your mom? Yeah, absolutely. That's so you. But here's what's really cool. How do you know that your parents are your parents? Probably because their image is on you. So when you look in the mirror, I need you to realize that it didn't start with just your parents. God's image is on you. But you have to be careful, because now what you say about your image is what you're saying about God's image. So you got to be careful. You have to be careful, because what you say about someone else's image, you're saying about God's image. But Josh, they don't even believe in God. That doesn't matter. They're still made in God's image. But what's even more important, like check this out. We're about to get real deep in here. I hope y'all come back. Next week's going to be real. I'm already excited about next week's message, so you have to come back. But check this out. How you sound may not show God's image, but you're made in his image. So how you sound, meaning what words you say, be careful, because God's image is on you. what you do and how you behave Thursday morning when squad is well out of your memory is important. Be careful on Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. You're going to be at church probably, so you're good. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, all those other days, be careful about how you behave because God's image is on you. So you have to be careful. But I just had to remind you that when you look in the mirror, what you see is God's image. What you focus on is what is missing. What you need to do is look again because God's in there. His image is on you. So now, with that in mind, what tends to happen is I'll look at myself in the mirror and remember and see all the things that are missing and what other people have. And you know what? I don't look like the linebacker on the football team. Heck, I don't even have the chest of the kicker on the football team. It's like I don't have some of these things that are missing. All these things are missing, and now I'm creating this idea that what's missing is what I don't have, but what I need. And I'm creating this feeling of despair, meaning I'm separating logic and emotion, and I'm only thinking with my emotional side, and now mentally I'm getting uncomfortable because I'm stuck in this place because of what's missing in my reflection. And the whole time, God's image has been my reflection. So Josh, what do I need when I'm feeling so much disparity? Clarity. When you start to feel disparity, you need clarity, not complexity. Don't add other people's opinions. Well, she said this about me, and he said that, and they thought that. They didn't say it, but I know what they were trying to say when they said this. No. Don't add complexity, add clarity. Who are you? Who you are depends on whose you are. There's a reason why you don't go to some stranger's house after you leave squad to go to bed. That's not your house. You don't know these people. This is the South. If you walk into a house and you are not, be careful, okay? But you tend to go back to the place of like home where you're comfortable, where there are some other people who are carrying the same image as you. What's really cool is that when Jesus walked the earth, before he was crucified and resurrected, he said, I'm going to prepare a place for you. The place is going to have many mansions. You're like, I can't wait to have my big old house. That's not actually what a mansion is. In that, it means dwelling place. Because he's saying that I'm going to go add on to my Father's house, and everyone who's tied to me has our image, is in relationship with us. Y'all have a place to stay and dwell with us. You always go back to your Father's house. Now, some of you, I know the Father image looks a little different, but it's the house where you have comfort, where you can dwell, and where you're protected. Because when you have disparity, you need clarity. So let's go back to the original, and you were originally made in God's image. All right, Josh, so I understand who I am. Okay, I'm made in God's image. I get that. What do I do with it? Why am I here? Well, first let me say that you were not made, you were not created and called into this earth to have braces. You were not called and created into this earth to be in middle school and high school and stay there. You're not called to just do whatever it is you're doing right now. You were actually called and created for a purpose, because only you are going to have the friends that you have, which means only you can have the influence with the people who are around you. Great example. Imagine tomorrow during first period, the bell rings, you're sitting down with all of your friends and you're laughing about whatever happened that morning whenever you forgot to look in the mirror and you missed it, but you're laughing, you're sitting together, and then I walk in and I sit in the middle of the group and I just start trying to jump into the conversation like a weirdo. Do you know what would happen? A code red lockdown, and you would see your youth pastor tackled to the floor and carried out of the building, because I don't have the same influence that you have with the people around you. So you have a purpose. You were not called into this world by accident. So check this out. And we're going to conclude with this message right here in Mark chapter 10. Jesus was once asked by his disciples, essentially, can we lead? Can we be in charge? We understand that it's you, but can we be second and third in command? Can I be on the left-hand side and he be on the right-hand side? So if something happens to you, it's us. And Jesus essentially told them, well, that's not really up to me, which I love that, but maybe another time we'll talk about that. But he goes on and he says this in verse 41, it'll be on the screen for you. He said, when the 10 heard about this, meaning the other disciples, when they found out that they had asked, hey, can we be in charge? The other 10 disciples found out, they became indignant with James and John. Yes, that's right. He said, I'm going to put the names down. I want y'all to know who we were upset with and who had the audacity to ask if they could lead. So he wrote their name down, and then look at verse 42. Jesus called them all together after this. Now you got some tension growing, all these things going on. He called them together and said, let me teach y'all something real quick. I'm not just leaving this for the 2 people who asked. I need to make sure that all 12 of you guys know this. Judas, make sure you lean into this, right? I want to make sure all of y'all know this. In verse 42, he says, Jesus called them together and said, you know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them. Y'all know that, right? Translation, you know that the people that don't even believe in God, that they are in charge, and they like to make sure that the people they're charged over know they're in charge. Meaning you have to serve us. We're going to make sure that you know we are the authority here. He goes on to even give more clarity. He says, they lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Go do what I say, I'm in charge. He's saying what you've just asked me looks a lot like that model, where you want to be in charge so you can tell other people what to do. So pay attention to these next couple verses, because this is your purpose for being on this earth. Verse 43, Jesus says, not so with you. That's what they do. You're not going to do that. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. What does that mean? That means when you walk into a restaurant, the waitresses and the waiters are the most important people in the room. So if you are one of them, you need to go to your job tomorrow and say, I need a raise. My youth pastor told me I'm the most important person in this room. And then your schedule's going to open wide up, and you can be right here every Wednesday, because you're going to get fired. But in your mind, you need to know that you are the most important person. You're the servant, okay? But check this out. He said, it goes on, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. And the reason Jesus used that example, that word slave, is because he said, this is the best model I can give you for how you should feel about serving other people. You should serve other people like you are obligated, like there is no other option that you would want to do anything else other than serve these people. That's how you should feel about it. And what's really cool is that here we have this model at Squad. We have a volunteer coordinator who helps serve our volunteers. And we have a student coordinator who helps serve you, the students. That doesn't mean that you say, hey, I need a little pick-me-up. Can you bring me some pizza to my third period class real quick? That's not what that means. All right, that means we're going to look out for you when you're here. Whenever you need some extra love and care, we're going to reach out to you. That's what that's all about. We want to serve you better. So Jesus closes by saying this in verse 45. He says, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served. He said, even I, who have made no mistakes, even I did not come to be served. He said, I didn't come to have people cook for me, for Mary and Martha to cook for me. They did it. I'm grateful. That's not why I came. I didn't come to have someone anoint my feet and like take this expensive bottle of perfume and pour it on me. I didn't come for that, but it happened. I didn't come so I could borrow a donkey and walk down Main Street while people were throwing palm leaves down in front of the donkey, yelling my name. I didn't come for that, but it happened. The reason all those things happened was because what he closes with, I came to serve and to give my life as a ransom for many. So if Jesus, the Son of God, came to serve other people, what do you think your purpose on this earth might be to do? Serve other people. Josh, what in the world does that have to do with Genesis 1, verse 27? I'm so glad you asked. We just looked at the Son of God and what his purpose is. Whose image was on Jesus? God's image. Whose image is on you? The best example that we have is Jesus walking this earth and what he did. That's why he came. You're not just another person. You have a purpose in this life. So here's what I want you to know before you leave here today. And if you want to take a picture of this, you can. If you want to just write it down, you can. If you want to get a tattoo of this after you turn 18, I'll be there for you. Make sure it's okay with your parents. But this is who you are, and this is why you are. What we're about to show you is who you are and why you exist. And it puts both of these stories together. And it's this: I'm an image-bearing, gospel-sharing servant of God. I'm an image-bearing, so be careful about how you talk about yourself, and be careful about how you talk about other people, because you're an image-bearer. Gospel-sharer, and gospel means good news. And I don't mean that you scroll CNN and Fox looking for something good. It might take you a minute. And I'm not saying that. The gospel is the good news about what Jesus did for us. And that whenever you get in front of someone, you decide to point them to Jesus, not to yourself. I don't know if you know this or not. I don't know if you can remember the day you were born, and maybe it's best because that would be very traumatic. But you were not born with mirrors. I don't know if you know that. You didn't come out with like mirrors. It would be very, very weird. My point is, you didn't come out with objects to where you could see yourself. What you were born with in the image of God was eyes. You came out with eyes. So now I can see other people around me. And you were born with ears, so I can hear other people around me. You were born with hands, and it's not even so you can pat yourself on the back because you can't even reach all of you. Isn't that weird? Like, God, how are you, like, the dimensions are all off. Like, I need, like, chimpanzee arms to reach every part of me. I can't even reach all of me. What good are these? It must be that every part of you was created and designed in God's image to help the people around you. That's the only way you make sense. So if there was a subtitle to this message tonight, it would be, "It's not about me." And the minute you realize that, some of your anxiety, your negative self-image, and some of that disparity that you feel, clarity sets in. And I realize it's not about me. All my stress comes from me worrying about what people think of me. It's not about me. Me and Marissa will talk about this sometimes. "Josh, what do you think they're thinking about us after we leave Squatter? If you post this, what do you think?" And I tell Marissa, "Honey, baby, I love you. I don't think I'm that important. They're not talking about me." But if they can leave Squad and talk about Jesus, now we're doing our job. Now we're doing our purpose because we are image bearers, gospel sharers who serve God. That's why we're here. If you leave here tonight and you're talking about me, I missed. We messed up and I failed. But if you can leave here tonight and you're talking about Jesus, we won. And you're going to see some things shift in your life. Because everything you were born in the image of was to help other people. It's not about you. But when you start helping other people, all of a sudden you start to look real good. So good, you so cute, you don't even need a haircut anymore. Because you're an image bearer, gospel sharer, servant of God. Say it with me real quick. Say, "I'm an image bearing, gospel sharing, servant of God." Now put some stank on it, okay? I'm an image bearing, gospel sharing, servant of God. When you leave this building and you get home and you open up the door and your parents say, "Why are you so late?" I need you to just yell at them in a very respectful tone and say, "Mama, I'm an image bearing, gospel sharing servant of God. But yes, I understand I'm grounded, and I will go to my room. And it will be what you are here to do. You were not placed on this earth for yourself. Because you were not placed on this earth by yourself. So what if we start using our eyes to see the posture of other people when they're hurting or when they're excited, and our ears to listen to the hurting or the joyful, and we took our hands and ran to them to either celebrate with them and high five and clap them post-coronavirus, or to help them? What if we did that? Now, if I'm you, I'm like, Josh, I get the little cheer, and I'm not going to get it tattooed because it ain't that good, but I'm an image bearing. You talked about that. Gospel sharing, I got questions because I don't want to show up to school tomorrow and be the weird one that they say, oh, that's a Christian. You don't want to talk about some of this stuff around them, right? I don't want to be that person. I understand that tension. So I would love to explain to you and show you how to share the gospel next week. So don't miss it. Don't miss it. Let me pray for us. Hey, thank you so much for watching this message at CrossPointe Church and our youth group. If you want to receive Christ as your personal Savior, we're so excited for you making that decision, but perhaps you want to know more about what that means and, of course, what's next. So please go to the description, check out those links to find out more information, and, of course, reach out and we can schedule your baptism whenever you're ready. But thank you again for watching. Have a great rest of your week, and we love you guys.